Greetings once again, Shinobi. Duuz-Diz-Din back again with Naruto Konoha's story, the Steam Ninja Scroll. Previously, Mirai has found herself in the den of the cult of Jashin, led by a man named Ryuki, who is inspired by the man who killed Mirai's father, Hidan. Ryuki has led many unwitting people, including Mirai's new friend, Tatsumi, to essentially what seems to be a sacrifice, all in essentially what is a bid to honor Hidan. Mirai's having none of that, and goes in on the cult followers, using the same techniques her father Asuma used. But the question remains, how closely does Ryuki follow Hidan's example, and should he display the same powers? Can Mirai overcome what her father could not without dying? Join me as I find out. Won't you? Alright, we're on chapter 13, the Jashin Curse. Oh boy. Mirai steps forward towards Ryuki, telling him, Ryuki, I'm taking you into custody. Ryuki recoils in fear, saying, damn it, this ritual is supposed to grant me immortality. I have all the human sacrifices I need to. But then he looks over at the sacrifices, and then he says, oh, that's right, the sacrifices. I'll kill these women. And one of his followers pulls out a blade to one of the dazed women's throat. I love that moment where he's just like, oh right, sacrifices, I have hostages. So essentially he's trying to implement the same ritual that essentially gave Hidan immortality. There we go. Ryuki holds his weapon to Mirai, saying, hehehe, don't move. If you stop fighting and join the sacrifices, maybe some can live. Mirai simply says, you're truly despicable. She then thinks to herself, what should I do? If I arrest Ryuki first, I'll be risking these women's lives. But if I do nothing, he'll carry out the ritual anyway. What would Sensei do? What would my father do? Suddenly the doors to the hideout burst open. Ryuki and Mirai are both shocked by this, and you hear cries from down the tunnel saying, help! Who is this man with such a chiseled face? Oh god. Suddenly several cultists are thrown into some others through the doorway, and out of the door steps Kakashi and my guy. Mirai calls out, Master Kakashi and Master Guy? How did you know I was here? Kakashi says, you left in the middle of the night, and I was concerned, so I sent a ninja hound to track you. Sorry about that. I guess age is turning me into a worrywart. Nope, that's those old instincts. Oh, and Kakashi already has his hand charged up with a little of that lightning blade. He then puts his electrically charged hand to the water that they're all standing on, and gives it a bit of a jolt. Good thing he can control the voltage, as he says, and just like that the hostages are safe now. I'll leave him to you. All the women are shocked awake, saying, ow, huh? What am I doing here? Mirai then proceeds to step towards Ryuki as he recoils further towards his throne, saying, stay back. Don't come any closer. Please stay back. He then starts to hold his mouth trembling. He then laughs maniacally, much to Mirai's surprise. He says, tell someone to stay away, and it just makes them want to come all the more. The conditions have been met. Mirai notices that she's standing in a painted circle with a triangle in the middle. It's for the curse. He holds up a curse doll and looks at the blood he took from Mirai when he cut her off of his weapon, saying the ritual begins now. Mirai holds her wound, saying, my blood? Ryuki holds the doll aloft, saying, hear me, Lord Jashin. Lend me your strength. Kakashi says, Mirai, get back! But Ryuki says it's too late. She's already cursed. Ryuki uses curse jutsu, body possession blood. Okay, so whereas Hidan created the thing on himself, Ryuki made it on the doll. To a certain extent, a little less gruesome. Markings suddenly appear across Mirai's body. As she drops her chakra blade, she says, not ninjutsu, but a curse jutsu? I can't move my body. Ryuki says, with Lord Jashin's power, I curse my enemies with their own blood. Your body and this doll are now joined as one. First I will kill you, and then command your corpse to kill your comrade. He runs the doll through with his sickle, and a blade mark appears right under Mirai's abdomen. She coughs up blood. Mirai then drops to the ground dead. She drops to the dead. That actually sounds like an awesome band name. Drops to the dead. Tatsumi cries out for Mirai, and Ryuki then commands Mirai's corpse, saying, "Now let the show begin. Kill Tatsumi." Mirai's body rises, and as Tatsumi recoils in terror, Mirai does nothing. Ryuki looks at the doll, saying, "Why? Why aren't you moving?" And Kakashi realizes, saying, "Could it be she already had a genjutsu active?" Yes, so he never actually cut her. When did she activate the genjutsu, though? Ryuki looks at the blade, saying, "Impossible. I cut your shoulder, I'm sure of it." Mirai then holds up her water bottle from when she collected water earlier that has a cut in it. Ryuki says, "A bottle?" Mirai explains, "I needed something to block your sight, and that was when I created the genjutsu illusion." Wow, all the way back then? Okay, nice. Now that's some Kurenai level skills. I wish we could have seen Kurenai more in action. It sucks that the one time we really saw her in action, it was up against someone who woefully outclassed her. At least I think that was the only real time we saw her in action outside of like a filler or something. But it feels like we never really got to see genjutsu used by anyone other than like the elite of the elite. Mirai goes on to explain, "You see, I remembered something I read in the archive. The way of Jashin uses blood as a medium for their jutsu." Ryuki says, "But the blood on my blade, it tasted like blood. It can't be," he said, as he's like, "I've tasted plenty of blood before." Mirai explains, "That's right, the spring water rich in iron, but my genjutsu made it look like blood." Ah, clever girl. Ryuki's obviously pissed as he goes in to attack Mirai, saying, "You wretch." He swings his scythe rapidly, trying to strike at her, but Mirai dodges all of the strikes. Mirai then goes in for an attack. Ooh, manages to knock Ryuki back a little bit, cutting him a little bit with fury of blows. Ryuki then goes in and kind of looks like he headbutts her and knocks her back a bit. Oh, Ryuki then takes Tatsumi as a hostage. Oh snap. He then cuts her cheek, saying, "So a curse wouldn't work on you, but what about her?" Mirai calls out for Tatsumi. Ryuki cuts her cheek and then licks the blood off his blade. And suddenly, Tatsumi is possessed. As Tatsumi's body walks towards Mirai, Mirai tries to call out, "Tatsumi, wait!" But Tatsumi strikes out at her. Mirai does her best to dodge all of Tatsumi's strikes. Man, Tatsumi is pretty nimble. I mean, is this all from the doll, or is she actually just this skilled? Mirai grabs onto Tatsumi's wrist, trying to hold her back, but she struggles. Mirai thinks to herself, "Such strength," and then she kicks Tatsumi away, saying, "I'm sorry." But Tatsumi isn't knocked down, she stands her ground. As Ryuki says, "So, what's your next move?" And it seems Mirai is at a bit of a loss. I do wonder how she'll overcome this. Because that's the thing, like, even when it came to Shikamaru and the others when they were facing off against Hidan, if you know what they're capable of, just use some agility. A little bit more than you normally would. Like, Azuma's loss to Hidan didn't come from being reckless, it came from not really knowing what even the smallest scratch would do. Naturally, Shinobi would be a little bit more careful because, facing off against other Shinobi, you need to expect maybe their weapons to be coated in some kind of poison, whatever. But something that would, take control of your body and, you kill the enemy, you kill yourself kind of situation. Maybe if they knew to restrain Hidan, Azuma wouldn't have had to die, but I wish manga like this were running alongside Boruto the entire time. Because while I've had a lot of fun with the Boruto manga, and I have yet to watch the anime, and I've seen a few things from the anime that seem pretty good and engaging here and there, but my only issue is that I wish we focus a little bit on, the other younger shinobi. I wish we had more. From what I can tell, there's not really enough Konohamaru stuff. And aside from a few times, I don't think Mirai appears all that much. And the older generation only gets a few moments here and there. But then again, it would be seen as filler regardless. But the thing was, even in the original Naruto story and even in Shippuden, it was only through fillers some of the other characters really had a time to shine. I feel like maybe if some of the more minor characters in Boruto got a little bit more involved with certain goings on, and you had moments like this where the younger generation where you could see their parents in them. certain teachings of their parents would come to the forefront. Because as far as I know, I mean, what do we really see from Shikadai most of the time? I know that Chocho had a big moment in the, what was it, the Chunin arc of Boruto. I think they had something like that. And it was like a big moment where Chocho and Sarada fought. And a lot of people ended up like really actually liking that. But what about Inojin? I almost never see anyone post anything about Inojin. What about Metal Lee? What's the deal with him? I know his team has a couple of filler characters on it. And I think a lot of characters who were made exclusively based on fan stuff, I think I know that much. I think a lot of characters in Boruto, especially the anime, are based off of fan characters. Like, you draw up a character and they're sent in. And every once in a while, I hear something about some stories that are pretty decent. Like, at the time of recording, not too long ago, before where the anime is right now, where I think it's ended for now to go into a different leg of the story, there was some kind of death game going on with other ninjas trying to protect someone or something like that. But the only ninja I really recognized was Boruto and all that. Like, it's cool to get ninjas from other villages, but I mean, you have all these characters from Konoha who I don't know how often they go outside of Konoha or the Leaf Village. So, and as far as I can tell, you don't have as many moments, or maybe they're just not as prevalent to me. I guess I really need to watch the Boruto anime, but I mean, why not have that in the main manga too? Moments where Chocho relates to her dad or her mom. Inojin shows off skills from his dad and his mom. As far as I can tell, Shikadai is just baby Shikamaru, like his father before him. I mean, those Shika genes are like really pure, because it's just like the grandpa is like seeing just had shadow weaving jutsu. Shikamaru had shadow weaving jutsu. Shikadai has shadow weaving jutsu. It's just like, I've seen nothing from Shikadai that like tells me like, okay, this is what he's learned from his mom or something like that. In the Boruto manga, there wasn't as much Himawari as I thought we were gonna get. Metal Lee is almost a non-existent character in the manga. Like, man. And even when it comes to characters like Sarada and Mitsuki, they're not as prevalent in the manga. And it's funny too, because a big thing about Naruto was that, yeah, the show is called Naruto, but it came to being like dead split between Naruto and Sasuke, and their stories took up so much of the overarching plot that we were like hungry for crumbs from any of the other Konoha 11. So any fans of the newer generation outside of Boruto and Kawaki freaking starving for anything. And I feel like side stories like this, where you had the newer generation, the children of characters that we loved, getting into action, having other members of the previous Konoha 11 coming in to help here and there. You know, even if it's a little silly, it'd be great to just acknowledge the other generation. I mean, Kakashi's off doing something? Show it. Show Kakashi teaming up with the younger kid. Have Tenten go on an adventure with Metal Lee. Finally answer if Tenten's his mom or not. I don't see why not make her his mom. Come on. I mean, Moegi's the leader of the new Inoshika-cho trio. Make that more of a prominent thing, because I honestly forget from time to time that's a thing. Shino was the teacher, right, of Boruto in his class. That never really comes up. So I hope they do more side stories, even if they're not based off of a novel. Do more side stories. Give us moments that can help us, like, relate the older generation and the newer generation. But given where Boruto is going now, I feel like we've kind of missed out on that time. I don't know. Maybe I'm a little salty. If you've listened to this rant, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you feel like my suggestions might have made Boruto and the newer generation more endeared to people who like the older generation? Or do you like it where it's at? It's just like, go watch the Boruto anime. You get all that and more. I want to hear from you. But also remember to subscribe for more Naruto. And until then, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din, and I hope to see you later. Take care. Bye-bye.